Thanks for joining us for our discussion about women in the ministry. In our previous, who are we?
That's a good question. I'm Pastor Dean.
I'm Pastor Aimee. So in our previous videos, we had some conversation around 1 Timothy chapter 2. You should check them out. Today we're going to take a look at the Genesis story. Oftentimes for churches and organizations that are complementarian and support or ban women from having authority over men, they often use the order of creation and the first couple of chapters in Genesis to support that. So we're going to take a closer look at those today and see what we think about them.
So I'm going to read from Genesis chapter 1, and I'm just going to read verse 27 and 28. And I invite you to also find your Bible and read this. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over every living creature that moves on the ground."
So oftentimes when we're talking about these things, people will say, well, God created Adam first, gave him authority, and then Eve was to be his helper and to take on a complementarian role.
And so we'll hear those who say that women aren't to teach in church, or aren't to teach men, at least in church, that they do this because of the quote-unquote order of creation. And that is of course why they also are, like Hindus, worship cows. Because cows were created before Adam. You can see how crazy and that thinking is, that lack of logic, and how actually the order of creation is not what they're practicing. It's more that they are just practicing a social or societal putting down or submission of
subjugation.
Subjugation, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Subjugation, you should speak more often, of women.
So in Genesis chapter 1, what we actually see is that Adam and Eve were both created by God. We're both imprinted with his image, made in his image. And then God spoke to them both, giving them authority over the earth, to rule over it, to be fruitful and to multiply. And that both Adam and Eve were given this command by God.
Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth, subdue it, rule. And that's given to both of them. Rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Women, along with men, equally were given the command by God to rule.
Right. So it's hard to take this text and to see or to say that man is primary and that the woman is to be the helper or is then in any way subject. Both were given equal authority. They're partners in this duty to rule the earth.
Thanks for joining us.